Welcome to episode 6 of the Hodgepodge podcast. I'm your host, Doug.
And I'm Dirty A. As the name suggests, we'll be discussing a hodgepodge of topics anywhere from movies to music to TV and other pop culture events.
And today we'll be discussing Tom Hanks' new movie, Captain Phillips, as well as director Robert Rodriguez's Machete Kills. You can reach us at the Hodgepodge Podcast at gmail.com or on our website, thehodgepodgepodcast.com, or at my review blog, dougreviews.blogspot.com. But before we get into the movies we're planning to discuss today, Dirty A, you and I, along with a couple of our friends, took a little trip this past weekend.
Sure did, which is why we're maybe a little late to the game on.
Yeah, a little late to the game on
Phillips, maybe.
Yeah, we're a little late recording this one and posting our last one, episode 5, because we took a trip down to Orlando to Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure.
Great trip.
Great trip. I'd never been there before.
I've been there once. It's been 10 years or so.
Yeah. But you wanted to go mainly for
the Halloween Horror Nights. So every year they'll open basically after normal hours they'll reopen the park at night and have a special Halloween presentation to the park, including some haunted houses and stuff. And that's what I wanted to do this year, and it did not disappoint. So it was fun. They had 8 houses set up, to which I made it through 7 of them before closing. So that's
impressive.
Yeah, I was not expecting to get through that many, but there were some real good ones. I think the highlight for me was Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah,
so they were all basically, the majority of them were themed towards a movie,
right?
A Universal movie.
The main attraction though was The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
that was like the sponsor.
Yeah, the Walking Dead was probably the keystone house this year, and it was great too. And you had your zombies throughout the whole park. You had the zombies walking through the whole park.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. But Cabin in the Woods was probably the best one. The production value in these haunted houses, was just amazing. We're talking. You might as well have been walking through the movie.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but between that and American Werewolves in London, the houses were just phenomenal.
Nice.
There were a couple that were maybe subpar, but you can't fault the whole. It was an awesome experience.
Cool.
That you and another buddy did not partake in.
No. Yes. He and I are big wussies. I'm not a big horror fan, and I'm not a fan of the haunted house thing. People jumping out and trying to scare you and stuff like that. I probably would have liked the production value on them if there is.
Yeah,
because you're saying they are.
You would have, but you would also.
But I also had a slight, we'll say, medical emergency that evening that precluded me from going into the haunted house.
Indeed, you were slated to go into the first one, but during the hour-long change wait, you could not wait any longer.
Exactly. I had a serendipitous urge to get out of line, and but it was great for me also because then our friend he did go through the house with you and then decided he was done for the evening.
So 3 of us went through the house. 2 of us are horror fans,
right?
And we're walking through that first house, which was Cabin in the Woods. We're looking at each other, oh, this is amazing, and we're laughing and having a good time. And we look back at our third buddy, and he's just shaking his head going, nope, no.
So he proceeded to then text me and say, where are you? I got to get out of here. Where are you? So he and I went on some of the other rides that they had in the Universal Studios. Now, we should mention...
so they had the normal rides open at night as well on that side.
Right, and there were no lines at all. No lines at all.
It sounded like it was a good time to go on.
Yeah, and what we should explain to the listeners is that they do the Halloween Horror Nights. There's 2 parks at Universal. There's the Universal Studios side, which is a lot of attractions and shows and stuff like that, and then there's the Islands of Adventure, which is all the roller coasters and stuff like that for the most part. This takes place on the studio side, and all the rides there, as Dirty A mentioned, were open. I got to see that night the Transformers 3D ride, which was kind of shut down when we tried to go that afternoon.
Yeah, we got right to the front of the line, more or less, and then
they're having difficulties with it. So our buddy and I got to see that, and that was actually very well done. I am not a fan of the Transformer movies at all.
No.
I don't like what Michael Bay did with them, but on top of that, just on a technical viewpoint of it, you can't tell what's going on half the time. It's just a mess.
Of action scenes.
All the robots look the same.
Cut together, yeah.
All the robots look the same except for Megatron and Prime, and you can't really tell what's going on.
And then the racist twins.
And the racist twins, correct? Yeah, but the ride was actually very well done. It was. It's one of these rides where they put you in a little car on a track, and then they have the 3D screens around, and it was really cool. They do spray stuff on you and stuff like that. Also went on that night Despicable Me. The Minions, basically the premise is that Gru turns the audience, the people riding the ride, into minions. And that was more of like you're in a theater, but like the benches move. It's not like an individual car. That was a lot of fun. That was really cute. Those were the two best ones we went to that night. We went to Men in Black, which is a lot of fun. Our fun was ruined by these three drunk assholes who were thought they were at a soccer game, I guess.
I missed that, yeah.
In Spain. Although they were American, they were, what's the term? Filthy Americans or whatever, so. But mostly our night was spent dodging the zombies that were walking around the streets.
Got a little tired of that. Huh?
Yeah, at one point it was probably around midnight or so, this one zombie's walking up to me, and I could pick them up pretty good. And they didn't really bother me. They didn't scare me as much as our buddy, because he really does not like people jumping out at him.
Yes, no, he does not. And to preface this, by the way, keep in mind when we say zombies, we're talking about like these are like they're in a cast. They don't break character.
Right, they never break character. They never do.
Zombies.
Right. And what I told our friend is I said, here's the one thing you got to remember. They can't touch you. They can only scare you and then walk away, because if they touch you, that's a lawsuit, basically. But at one point around midnight, this one guy was walking up to us, and I just looked at him. I just went, enough. Then he lunged at me, and then he walked on his way, and I'm like, get the hell out of here. But they were all over the place. They actually created like choke points throughout the park where you would run into a majority of them. But as far as the rest of the park, like I said, I had never been there before. It's a great park. I mean, Disney gets all the press because it's Disney, but Universal Studios does a great job.
Yeah, it's and obviously it's more the adult.
Yeah, it's more adult of the parks.
Yeah, so basically down there in Orlando, you got Disney, which for the vast majority of its stuff is kids focused.
Well, we talked about that with the billboards that they had. Like they had a billboard for the Halloween Horror Nights, which is like a Walking Dead zombie, half his face is off, and he's lunging at the camera. And then the Disney one is Mickey Mouse with little fangs on it and a bag of candy going, it's Mickey's Halloween night! So it's two completely different audiences they're going for.
Right.
But the thing, I like Universal because you really get a little bit of everything. They have the Universal movie stuff there, the movies and the monsters and stuff like that. But they also have a section for Marvel Comics, which I'm actually wondering what's going to happen with that now that Disney owns Marvel. I don't know if they're going to start phasing that out, repurposing the rides.
Yeah, because that's been there for a long time.
Or will they just continue that partnership? But
we'll see.
But we also, the big thing down there right now is the Harry Potter world.
Is it?
Yes. Yeah, Dirty A is not a big Harry Potter fan.
Didn't get that.
We had a running joke throughout the whole thing of taking pictures of him not understanding and you'll see them if you're on the YouTube watching this. You'll see pictures of him scratching.
What?
Yeah, scratching his head.
I don't.
The Harry Potter. I am a Harry Potter fan. I do like the movies a lot and the books, and it was very well done. Everything about it was very authentic. You actually walk into Hogsmeade and you can go to, what the hell's the candy store? Honey Dukes. Honey Dukes. That's what
you're asking. You were quite possibly asking the number one wrong person to be asking technical questions about Harry Potter.
You can go to Honey Dukes. You can go to Zonko's. Ollivander's. They have the wand shop where they have a little presentation. You and our one friend missed that. Me and our other buddy
got turkey legs.
You went and got turkey legs, yeah. And we actually had to wait in line to get in there. And it's a little presentation, and they have a kid come up and he basically becomes Harry Potter because he finds the wand that chooses him and stuff
and then
like
they
that.
take it from him.
And then they take it from him. Yeah, as my one friend who lives down there, he met up with us and he's like, yeah, when we went, we're like, give the kid the wand. What the hell's the matter with you? Give the kid the wand.
You can't give the kid the wand and then take it back. That's just what.
The wands, by the way, were $35 a piece. So, but it was really great. The castle was amazing. I know most of it.
They talk about the Harry Potter experience.
Well, yeah, the ride too, but I mean, just like the whole
ornateness of the.
Yeah,
oh yeah.
I mean, it was. I mean, detailed to the nth detail. I mean, I'm sure most of it's all facade, and you really can't go into certain sections of it.
Yeah.
But then we did the Harry Potter experience ride, which was incredible.
It was.
I mean, of all these ones where they put you on a track and stuff like that in like a little pod or whatever, this was the best one.
So yeah, this one kind of like had the best of all the worlds.
Right.
So it had the giant projection IMAX screen.
Oh, that's an IMAX screen for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then it would move you through different rooms with this screen, and then it also had real things popping out of it at the same time.
Yeah.
So it had a lot of the different things going on. And yeah, even though I don't know or frankly care anything about Harry Potter, I mean the whatever you want to call it, Hogsmeade or the land itself, it was still very cool to walk through and enjoy the rides there. It had the best coaster,
and it did have the best coaster. It used to be called Dueling Dragons, right? That's what it used to be called.
Yeah. So basically, this roller coaster is it was repurposed when they built Harry Potter Land around it.
And now it's called the Dragon's Challenge. It's supposed to be based around pretty much the majority of it for fans of Harry Potter out there. It's really built around mainly the fourth book, the Goblet of Fire and the Triwizard Tournament.
Of course,
of
course it is,
and that's really what they're basing a lot of this on. And they have the two.
I thought it was more Chamber of Secrets myself, but that
does show up in the Harry Potter experience, though.
Boom,
but
nailed it.
But they had it's basically two separate rides of these roller coasters that I was told that at some point it looks like you're about to run into each other, but we never had that experience.
No, they didn't run. They didn't actually run
them at the same time. But when you ride the two different, like you can choose which dragon you want to ride on, and when you ride them, it really is two different experiences.
Yeah, it's two distinctly different roller coasters.
Now, I'm also not a big roller coaster fan, so I conquered a lot of my fears this weekend, and I had a blast on that ride. You guys ended up going on that thing 3 times. I went twice.
Yeah, we did.
The third time I was
front each time.
The third time I was just beaten down, old man. I couldn't get on that ride again. But
well,
we also went in the front row too.
To be fair, we did a lot of walking. I mean, we had our own Lord of the Rings trek going on this past weekend. A lot of walking.
We did.
But yeah, overall the trip was great. Yeah, Harry Potter Land was wonderful. I'm sorry. You got anything else?
Oh, no. Harry Potter.
Harry Potter or Mary Potter. I don't know. I love Simpsons Land. I love
Simpsons Land was amazing.
Devoted to the Simpsons. They had everything. Well, not everything, but they had a lot of very cool stuff there. You could walk into Moe's Moe's bar and get your picture taken with Barney.
Right.
We ate at Krusty Burger, for God's sake.
We did. We ate at Krusty Burger.
Krusty Burger.
And the food actually wasn't that bad.
It wasn't.
It was actually pretty good. When you look at it, when you go up and order it, what they do is it's basically a food court. And they have Krusty Burger, and then they have Cletus's Chicken Shack. They have the Frying Dutchman. Although it's not all you can eat fish.
Right.
They have Luigi's, and then they have a Flaming Moe's stand where you can buy the overpriced drink Flaming Moe's, which is non-alcoholic.
People.
Speaking of non-alcoholic drinks, going back to Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, we did forget to talk about
the butterbeer is really good, but it's not. You only need to get one.
The first few sips are good.
Yeah,
and then once the butterscotch off the top is all gone, it's shit.
Yeah, it's not that great. The pumpkin juice is much better though.
Yeah,
pumpkin juice is really good. But anyway, the Flaming Moe's, you had. I didn't have the Flaming Moe's. You had the Flaming Moe's.
Yeah, it was basically like a glorified high C. Maybe a little bit extra charged. Orange high C.
Right.
And there was problem number 1. It was orange.
Yeah, it wasn't purple like in the show.
Problem number 2 is you got like freaking 10 ounces of it, maybe.
Yeah, for $8.
Maybe for $8.
But then they also had Buzz Cola, which was essentially Diet Coke mixed with like cherry or grenadine or something like that. That wasn't bad, but the cups they gave you were huge.
not have
I had one later that night, and I was just like, oh my god, this is too much.
I was about to say, I was like, have the Buzz Cola. Oh, with a diet, forget it.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically,
What's the
how
point?
that went for me, right?
I wish they had squishies. That would have been nice if they had squishies. But
I would like a kiwi lemon squishy, please.
But the Simpsons, it's really cool to go down the street. We took pictures with all the characters, and when I say characters, I mean they're statues. They're like
Well, some
life size.
Actually, we did.
We did get some pictures with Krusty and Sideshow Bob, and but they have a lot of statues throughout the park that you can take pictures with.
They had the Jebediah
Springfield statue,
great,
and they had they have a Kangen. Yeah, they have a Lard Lad. They have a Kangen Kodos ride, which I thought was going to be a scrambler type ride, but it really was just like it's really for kids. Yeah, it's a little kids ride, but it was fun.
Yeah, and then they had the
Simpsons Experience ride, which
was cool.
Which I was told, people told me they were like, oh, it's not that good. It was a lot of fun.
I thought it was really fun.
It was a lot of fun.
I heard the exact same thing. Oh, it's herky jerky around, and it's not that great. I really liked it.
Yeah, it was great.
It was awesome.
It was fun. Then the other places they got a lot of other things like the Lost Continent is interesting. Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I didn't go on the Jurassic Park ride just because I didn't feel like getting wet, so I became the designated phone holder while you guys went on that.
We appreciate that.
You're welcome. And but of course for me, you had the Simpsons, which was huge for me. You had Harry Potter, but of course Marvel Comics Island, which
you like that.
was awesome. I mean, it's so cool to see all the stuff they had there. They actually had people dress up as the characters. Dirty A got his picture taken with Rogue and Storm.
My baby Rogue.
And Storm, the woman who played Storm, was probably a better Storm than Halle Berry was in the movies. They had statues of the characters. The rides were good. The Spider-Man ride was pretty good.
Yeah,
I had heard that they updated that ride. To improve it a little bit.
Improve it, I guess. The one thing noticeable for me that I noticed was that they changed Doc Ock up to look more like the movie Doc Ock.
Oh, okay.
As opposed to
the comic book
with
the orange and the green, tights.
Yeah, which was kind of interesting.
Right.
But that too is one of those 3D kind of IMAX screeny rides that runs you through. And my running joke on that is that the first time I went there, it was more of a family trip, and my sister got off the ride, looks at us and says, "That was great, but what I want to know is why these things kept coming right at me." So 3D ride, folks, you have your glasses. And so I posted a picture of that on Facebook and directed that towards her, which gave me a lot of amusement of that.
They also had the Hulk, the Hulk roller coaster, which is a big roller coaster. It's a long roller coaster.
It's fun.
And it was fun, and it was hilarious because after we had already gone on the Dragon ride before that at Harry Potter World, and after you go on the Dragon ride, especially when we were in the front row, because the Harry Potter one, your legs are hanging free. You're like in a harness.
This
almost.
is more your traditional style.
This was more of a traditional coaster, and I got to say it was great in the very beginning, but when they took the picture halfway through the ride, you saw like a stony resolution on my face because it's just like you just kind of get in the flow with it because it is a long ride.
Right.
And whereas the Harry Potter one was stark terror the whole time, but the Hulk one, I was like resolute halfway through the ride. But it was still a lot of fun, great fun. And then of course your favorite one of the Marvel ones, the
Fearfall,
the Doctor Doom Fearfall,
which if amusement park fans will know, it's basically the big drop.
Yeah,
and they call it
Doctor
Doom's Fearfall. And we all love that one.
Yeah, it was. I did like it, but it's definitely nerve wracking. It's nerve wracking when like Doctor Doom's talking shit to you and he's counting down. You're like, oh god, oh god, oh god. Yeah. And it's actually not even the fall with that ride. It's the shoot when it shoots you up.
I'm not even sure how tall it is. I'm not sure.
I don't know either.
It's awesome.
Because I remember also years and years ago for my senior trip, we went to Disney and MGM Studios and we did the Tower of Terror, which was completely different. The Tower of Terror,
the drop.
That's all about the drop because the Tower of Terror, the Tower of Terror sends you up slowly. Basically.
Well, right. It sends you up to the point, and you're in the dark. You don't even really know you're going up.
Right.
You're just on this ride, and you're riding it upwards, but you don't know you're up until you're dropping.
Yeah.
You don't even realize you're that high up.
Whereas the Doctor Doom is more about the launch.
You walk in, and you know what you're getting into. But yeah, it was a great trip.
Great trip. We had a lot of fun.
We had a good time. City Walk was pretty cool.
Yeah, City Walk was cool.
Kind of connects the two parks. As Doug mentioned up front, you have your Universal Studios park, and then you have your Islands of Adventure park.
Right.
And meet them in the middle outside the gates. You have what they call City Walk, which is a lot of restaurants and shops and stuff, and a movie theater.
Yeah,
and we ate there.
We checked out Hard Rock Cafe
and Margaritaville,
which was, unless you're Jimmy Buffett fans, annoying as hell.
Yeah, really annoying. I should have known better. I mean, literally, this is just me being an idiot. But when we walk up to Jimmy Buffett, they're only playing Jimmy Buffett music. I'm like, so are we gonna have to listen to this the whole time? And sure enough, it was like
the majority of it was
4 songs on a loop.
Yeah, but we were starving by that point, so we had to get something to eat. The Hard Rock Cafe was pretty cool. They told me that was the largest one, like I guess in the country.
Right, and, because adjoined next to it is a concert venue.
Right, and they can see. They said they could seat 1,100 people in that restaurant, which is insane.
Yep.
But the food was good. All the food was good. It's a good resort. Highly recommended if you're in Orlando and you don't feel like going to Disney because you think it's too kiddie. Check out Universal. It's pretty good.
And if you go during the week, it's better than the weekend.
Yes, definitely.
We started on a Thursday. Ran through Saturday. The only day we had a problem
was Saturday. And even Friday. Yeah, even Friday wasn't that bad.
The only day we had a problem was on Saturday. And I'm not saying it was that bad.
Right.
But and little trick, folks. Even if you're with people, get in the single riders line.
Yes, if you don't mind getting split from your party in a certain ride, don't get the express pass.
It's a 1 minute ride. It's a 1 minute ride. Yeah, don't get the express pass. Just everyone jump in the single riders line, and you will buck anywhere from a half to 3/4 of your time.
I mean, that was amazing.
And there's still the chance you will get to ride together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because when you guys were doing the Halloween Horror Nights. Our buddy and I did that. We went in single riders line, I think, for Transformers. We ended up being in the same car. Every time we ended up being in the same group because there's only 2 of us.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Great fun. Definitely check out Universal. I think we're actually thinking about going again next year, but we'll see what happens.
We'll do that.
something else might come along.
You never know. You never know. We'll try something different. But yeah, Universal trip was a hit. Speaking of hits, I guess let's get into the big movies that we got to review this week.
Yes, the movies that came out this past weekend, the weekend of the 11th. We had Paul Greengrass and Tom Hanks' new movie, Captain Phillips.
Which we've actually seen.
Yeah, we saw that before. Yeah, we saw that before we went on the trip, and we saw it at a couple screenings. And Captain Phillips is based on a true story. Real life events that took place in 2009 about a freighter captain named Rich Phillips who was taken hostage by Somali pirates.
Right. And the whole ship is
but then
hijacked.
As you can see in the trailer, they take him solo so he can get them off the ship, and it just tells the story of what happened of that ordeal.
Right. This was the first U.S. vessel in 200 years to get hijacked by pirates.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yep.
It's a good movie.
It was.
It wasn't. The only.
It was a sole portal for Tom Hanks' talent.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. Yeah. It wasn't Castaway, but it was a one-man show.
Basically, yeah.
And that's not besmirching anyone else in the movie,
right?
Or saying that the movie's any less for that, but that's what it was.
It really is his show. Yeah. The actors that they got to play the Somali pirates, I believe they're all Somalian as well. They're from there,
like authentic. Yeah, absolutely.
But they were great. You had I'm gonna fuck up these names. I know.
Oh, you're going for it. You're gonna actually.
I'm gonna try it. Yeah.
All right.
You had the main guy was Barkhad Abdi. He's the main guy. He's the guy you see in the trailer. He's the real gaunt guy.
Playing
Muse,
yeah.
And he's the guy who says, "I'm the captain.
I'm the captain. Look at me. Look at me. I'm the captain
now." Then you had Mahat M. Ali. He played Elmi, who was the boat pilot. You had Faisal Ahmed, who plays Naji. He's the young kid who I kind of thought looked like LeBron James. I said to our friend that we went with, I turned to him. I said, I think he looks like LeBron James, and he's like, yeah, he does.
So they're all kind of pirates out of their own like they're doing it. They're not doing it for the sake of piracy, but they're doing it because
they're forced into it.
Right. That you have these Somali warlords who force the tribes to pay them. Basically,
right.
This is the only way they can do that.
And the fourth guy was his name was Bilal in the movie, and he's another guy, Barkhad. He must be like Smith. Barkhad Abdirahman,
and I assume he's the bad one of the
he's the crazy one. You have to give him some credit too, because he really played the hell out of that.
He sold it. Yeah,
he was great. All very good, and they all had their little roles, to play.
Yeah,
they're almost like they're, they had their little job to do.
Yeah, for me, the movie maybe ran a little long. It did about an hour and 30 minutes and some change.
It was over 2 hours.
I'm sorry. 130 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
And some change, but. It did not. Don't get me wrong. It didn't feel that long, but they definitely. I felt it could have. They could have polished up the editing.
The second half drags. And you have the problem I had with it is that everything that happens when they come to the boat is very, very tense. It's very well done. Agreed. When they're trying to take the boat. Once they take him off the boat, some of the tension kind of leaks out a little bit.
It's funny, right? Because you think they tighten up the quarters and you've got this hostage. You think it's going to get more tense, but you're right. It kind of starts to deflate slowly.
When you know what the outcome ends up being, it kind of robs it.
Which you could say for any true story.
You could, but the thing I compared it to the most was last year's Argo. And when I watched Argo,
good point.
And when they were trying to escape, that's the most tense part of the movie.
Good point. From start to finish, you were terrified and edge your seat in Argo for these people.
Right. So, I don't know what it was. I think it's maybe because the stakes weren't as high in Captain Phillips, because it is only one guy.
Right. Could be.
It's not like all these people.
Right. Because very quickly. Not very quickly, because I also feel that the beginning of this could have been shaved. A little, I know you got to give the characters a bit of backstory, but they give a little bit of extraneous.
Well, I did like how they showed the Somalis.
Not their backstory. I'm sorry.
Oh, you mean Phillips?
I mean Phillips.
Yeah, I don't.
Right.
There was
actually
really no
I
need.
could have dealt with a little more of the Somali backstory and less of the Phillips.
Yeah, because Catherine Keener's in it. She plays his wife, but she's in it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's like they're trying to set up a tug on the heartstrings for later, but there's not really that payoff because you don't get that involved, and you're not supposed to.
But but that's what Greengrass does with some of his movies, because he also did United 93, and it's kind of like a documentary type style movie.
Yeah. It's even almost the same with the Bourne movies.
Yeah.
He did. I mean, he sets it up like that.
Yeah.
But, it's I felt like they could have shaved a little bit off the front, and then you're right, when the pirates actually take hold of the ship, that's the best part. When they're coming up on the ship, up to when they deboard the ship with Richard Phillips.
Right.
And it slowly starts to lose a little traction after that, but it's still a solid movie all the way through. But I did appreciate the fact that they didn't try to get overly political with it.
No, they really
told
don't.
the story.
Yeah.
They told the story of what happened. They didn't try to get crazy political about it. And the whole thing seemed real to form or true to life as to how events probably took place.
Right.
It was good. It was cool to see how whether it happened or not, how resourceful Richard Phillips was.
Yeah.
Whether it was when he was on the ship trying to evade the pirates or help his crew evade the pirates, or when he's talking to the Navy.
Yeah, telling
basically in code, trying to tell him, I'm seated here.
Right.
On the vessel.
And there has been, I think, some controversy a little bit with this movie coming out, that I guess some of the people who were his crew are saying that it paints him as a little bit more of a hero than he really was.
Oh, is that a fact?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know the whole story, but I've read a little bit about it, and
not surprised. I mean, it's Hollywood.
Yeah,
this is a Hollywood movie.
Exactly. I mean, and it was the thing that was also interesting to me was how the military worked into it, and how the Navy operated, and what they did, and the efficiency with how they operated. Yeah. I mean, that was scary.
It was a well-oiled machine. I mean, they were cut and dry. They had a job, and that's what they were there to do.
But but it's a good movie. Yeah. It's a solid movie. I know a lot of people are talking about that it could be nominated for Best Picture. I don't think
it's
so.
Not that good.
It's not that good.
It's possible Hanks.
Possibly,
maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
But the movie itself, no.
But
I'll say my favorite part about the movie was the last 2 minutes.
Yes.
Where I'm not giving anything away. We all know he gets... Anyone who knows anything about the story, he obviously gets rescued.
Right.
But the way Tom Hanks plays... traumatized.
Yeah, when he goes into shock.
Captain Phillips.
He's
just in shock.
Yeah.
And when they're asking him questions and doing his
medical exam.
It's amazing. I mean, that's worth the price of admission right there.
Yeah. Tom Hanks does a great job in this movie. And like I said, it really is his show. And I do have to say, I think it was a lot less herky-jerky camera from Paul Greengrass. I mean, he is the king of the shaky cam.
Especially given that it was on sea.
I know, right?
You could have really tried to utilize that, but no, he toned it down. It was good.
He did tone it down, but it's a decent movie. Go see Captain Phillips. But I got to admit, this weekend that it just came out, it came in second place in the box office to Gravity, and
yay.
And that is deserved because
Gravity. Per fucking Gravity.
Yeah.
I did not. I believe I even might have mentioned this on our review of Gravity. I did not think it was going to gain traction in the greater public
public consciousness. Yeah,
so glad it did.
It's making a shit ton of money, it is well deserved. It's a great movie.
Glad to see that one holding its own.
Now let's move on to a movie that's not so great.
A little lighter.
We saw just today. We just got out of Machete Kills.
Machete!
The sequel to Machete. Which started out in 2007's Grindhouse as a fake movie trailer.
Fake trailer, yeah.
And then they kind of had to build a movie around it. And the first Machete I liked. It was very tongue-in-cheek. It was supposed to be an exploitation movie.
Oh, yeah.
Great job. This one basically tries to turn Machete into James Bond. It tries to turn Machete into the Mexican James Bond. Not that there shouldn't be a Mexican James Bond, but it's not Machete. This one is... If the first one was implausible, this one is highly implausible.
Agreed. And definitely went an extra step above.
And that's what they're going for, and I understand that. But what I felt with this one was that the screenplay wasn't up to snuff. It was just a poorly done story. And I know, again, that's kind of like the charm.
See, but this is where we kind of disagree.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's kind of the charm, but the first one was just much better. And
could it be just because it was more original?
Yeah, probably. Maybe, it might be that. It might be that.
Because they did reuse some gags. And
they did, yeah.
And it was in a lot of ways the same thing.
But I liked the story and where it went a little bit. It's just that stuff just happens and like people just show up and it's just like and it's just I don't know.
He's right, folks. Everything he says is true, but that's part of why I liked it.
Yeah, no, I mean
because it is absolutely absurd.
Yeah,
absurd action and gore.
Didn't have a problem with the action. I mean, it was just
no. I know what you're saying, but I'm saying the characters. Like I thought that they used the famous cameos to in this movie. Yeah, and there's a lot like if Machete the first one was really more about putting in people that you knew but weren't sure who they couldn't place
them like Jeff Fahey and people like that.
And this one you know
everybody in this, and there's a lot of great cameos in it, a lot of great work by actors and stuff like that. And we'll get into all that in just a second. Yeah. But to me, it just something. It definitely had its share of laughs. It had all the gory action and the ridiculous action that was in the original. But just something didn't click. Something about the script just didn't click for me.
I hear you. For me, it worked fine. I'm by no means saying it was a great movie.
Right.
But for me, it was right on par with Machete. It was great. And, I mean, heck, they used Star Wars references, which is always going to sell me.
Yeah, they surely did. Basically, the story is that, Machete, after the last movie, is working with Jessica Alba's character.
Yeah, part of the immigration.
Part of the immigration. Don't know why they show up in the beginning to stop a weapons bust, but okay.
Opening scene, folks. Opening scene, yeah.
And basically, Machete gets embroiled in a plot by a madman in Mexico. This is where the James Bond part comes in.
So the president asks him to
intervene.
track down this madman who's got his finger on the gun, basically.
Right, finger on the button. And that takes Machete into meeting all these crazy characters and stuff like that. But it's like I said, it really is Machete Bond. I mean, it really is.
No, they definitely play that up. I mean,
even the assassin had a golden gun, for Christ's sake. He did. Danny Trejo plays Machete again, and he's great as always. I mean, he's so stone-faced, and he does a good job. Another great performance.
Going back to the golden gun, I wonder if he also had a third nipple.
Maybe he did. But going back, so another great performance from Demian Bashir, who we talked about in our last episode, from The Bridge. He plays the madman Mendez, and he does a good job. Just a lot of great cameos. Sofia Vergara plays. If you've seen any commercial, you've seen her with the machine gun bra. And
booby guns.
Her booby guns. And she does a great job because you've never seen her in a role like this. She's done a lot for American audience. She's most people know from Modern Family, but she also did what was that movie called? The Knights of I forget what it was called. It was with Donald Logue. It was on ABC as well. Yeah, it was another sitcom.
Knights. Yeah, I can't. It's escaping me, but that was actually really fun.
It was a good show. It was a good show. It was. It's a shame that it didn't last, but
they're like a band of thieves, basically.
Yeah, but she's really great in it. Cuba Gooding Jr. shows up in it. Knights of Prosperity. That's what it was.
Yep.
Just a lot of actors that you know. Michelle Rodriguez is back as Luz. Amber Heard. Can't forget Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen is the president.
I'm sorry.
Carlos Estevez. Sorry, as the president.
And
then of course Mel Gibson, still trying to resurrect his career as Vaz, the villain. Mel Gibson does a good job.
Apart from his personal life, which you got to abhor the man for that. But I've never had a problem with him on screen.
Yeah,
he always more or less does a solid job on screen.
Yeah.
I like his movies. So.
He does. A lot of other people in there you'll recognize. We won't spoil all of them. Lady Gaga's in it.
You picked out a good one at the end. Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a cameo from Elon Musk.
You did not care for it, at least as certainly not as much as the first. Maybe you appreciated a little bit of the tongue-in-cheekness. I appreciate it at least as much as the first one, in that I laughed my butt off and was completely fine, full well knowing going in that it was going to be a completely implausible movie and lots of guts and doing interesting things with said guts.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. I mean, it's just a big, it's a big dumb movie. I guess my problem with it is that the first one was kind of, and maybe this is just nostalgia from the fake trailer that they did, but the first one was really like they really did it like low budget, whereas this one felt like it was a big budget movie trying to be bad,
right?
And that didn't jive, in my head.
Right. No longer Grindhouse.
Exactly.
Sure.
They also, we don't want to spoil anything, but they also kind of ruin the end of the movie.
Yeah. So
at the very beginning of the film,
they do what Rodriguez does in Grindhouse, which is they have like a trailer of sorts to open up the movie. But Doug and I both agree it should have gone at the tail end of the movie. I'm not sure where their thinking was in putting this up front when it should have gone at the end.
But honestly, the trailer I thought was the best part of the movie.
It was. Hands down.
Aside from one other thing, if you've ever seen Spy Kids,
there you go.
You're in for a surprise because Alexa Vega from Spy Kids is in this movie, and she has grown up quite a bit.
Assless chaps.
Assless chaps, and she, wow.
Yeah.
Ay, 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 to quote the Bumblebee Man.
I'm not.
And his taco truck.
Yeah. It's taco time.
It's taco time. But, if you don't mind spending the money at the theater,
right?
Go see a matinee.
Right. If you're not someone who goes to the movie a lot,
right?
Pick a better movie to go spend $10 on.
Right.
But that being said, you can have a lot of fun with this movie.
Right. Otherwise, wait for Netflix.
Yeah.
But that'll do it.
We'll wrap it up here.
We'll wrap it up, and next time, I won't say next week because we got into trouble when we did that last time.
Yep. we promise we're coming back, folks.
Yeah. Next time, we will be discussing 12 Years a Slave with Chiwetel Ejiofor.
We're looking forward to that one.
And we'll see what else we're going to discuss because could be a certain team up of 80s icons.
Could be.
Could be Cormac McCarthy's scripted movie with Ridley Scott. It depends on when we end up recording. But thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.